Guys, we got Kent Brown over here at the tank.
Normally Mark waits to give the hooks out to the end of his seminar, and then he forgets. But he never has any extra hooks when I go by his boat. Pull up on his boat, turn in the morning, and then you got any extra hooks? No, man, I came all the way to the IC show. But Mark's got some hooks he's going to hand out. I want to welcome everybody to the International Sportsman Expo. Hey, at least we're having a show, right? That's pretty cool. We all get to be here and hang out today. Any of you bought a boat yet? You bought a boat today?
Oh, no. Oh. I got a new boat, though.
All right, well, it's a boat show, people. All right. Let's go. Let's get this going, okay? That's not hard these days. We take trades, right? You take a boat? Yeah, we'll take trades. Anybody 3 beers away from buying a boat, we want to keep an eye on that guy for sure. You know, when they were like 10 grand, about 5 beers and their buddies were talking me into it. Sure. Remember those days? I think I bought one of those. I think so. Hey, my name's Kent Brown. I'm host of the Fast Radio Show. Every Saturday morning on Sports 1140 KCK here in Sacramento for the last 17 years. My alarm's gone off at 4 a.m. So we get to come hang out with you at the show and get to put together a great lineup of seminar speakers. So we have a lot of fun with it. I want to tell you a little bit about our demo tank. It's a 3,000-gallon aquarium demo tank. We bring it in, we set it up, fill it up full of water. All these fish are from the California Delta. So they came in courtesy of the Department of Fish and Wildlife. They're going to go back to the Delta on Sunday. Here's the problem. This is their very first sport show. They have sat through every seminar. They know all the tricks, all the techniques. So if you go to the Delta next year and you don't catch any bass, you can blame us because we trained all the fish on all the cool stuff you know how to do down the Delta. Just the opposite, absolutely. Whatever we don't tell you is what you want to do. You want to hand some hooks out?
I do. You know what? First, one thing we're going to talk about in the seminar is several mistakes that bass anglers make. We make a lot. You know, I think the first one is telling our wife that we're not fishing rather than going to work.
Yeah. Right.
You know, besides that, real fishing things. So, anybody have a mistake that you think bass anglers make?
I do. Listening to other people. Talk.
Oh, that's a good one. It's not on my list, but it's a good one.
DeMarc and I
got some hooks for you guys.
Right here, Mark. Now, DeMarc and I look like the kind of guy that would lie to you about our fishing spots. Really? Come on. Really? Yeah. God, DeMarc, I could come down a whole list of mistakes anglers make. You know, dog talk. Putting in too much practice, not putting too much practice, setting the hook too many times in pre-fin, not setting the hook too many times in pre-fin, not having enough spots to hold over in 3 days. The list is long.
Last time I got a little trouble because the guys over here said, hey, there's some guys over here, so I'm going over there now.
To the other side to get some hooks out, so without a doubt. Hey, Mark's going to get up here on the tank here in just a minute after he has some hooks out with us, but here you go. He's had a great year. And how many, you know, a lot of us don't get magazines anymore. And Mark has the best bass fishing magazine in the country today with Bass Angler Magazine. Pretty simple to remember. And is there a copy there you can show me? I can show all the folks right here. Look at
Last one.
Look at that. Bass Angler Magazine. Mark does a great job on this. Glossy, great magazine. You can subscribe. It comes to your mailbox about 4 times a year. Not only do they cover fishing here regionally, but they cover the anglers as they travel across the country as well. So we have a lot of fun with it. Mark's also a full-time fishing guide when he's not fishing tournaments. Last year he was runner-up on the Wild West Bass Trail team circuit in the point standings. He and his partner Jody White, the largest team circuit in the West for sure. He's an Apex Cup angler. He's already cashed a check this year. 2 weeks ago down at Lake Mojave. Well, 2 checks, but you cashed one at Shasta too. I saw that. But I was counting the big check at the Apex. And he's headed up bright and early on Wednesday to Lake Shasta again to get ready for the Wild West Bass Trail Pro-Am. So, also had a great year. Where'd you finish? 7th in the Joint Series last year?
7th.
Where were you at? You were up pretty high.
7th. Yeah, I think I was 7th in points on Toyota and 7th in points on Wild West.
Wild West. That's a pretty consistent year. You want to listen to a guy that does that, probably because he's reading Bass Angler Magazine, I'm sure.
More than likely.
Long time, old buddy of mine. Always fun when I get to hang out with you guys. Please welcome my friend Mark Lassagne. He's coming, I promise.
Coming.
It's kind of like Garth Brooks. We bring him up out of the floor with smoke and a headset. The only thing we forgot was the smoke. We've got the lights behind you now.
In case nobody's seen what Bass Angler looks like, Bass Angler magazine. We got a booth right over there. We're doing subscriptions, great magazine. Probably the biggest mistake you can make in bass fishing is not reading this. Guarantee, you know what, I have a great staff of writers. You know, we interview a great bunch of pros, and I actually learn a lot every single issue. So, a lot of great stuff, and honestly, you'll learn a lot. So we're going to talk about some of the mistakes bass anglers make. So my thought is the very worst mistake guys can make is going back to the same spot. You know, listening to Doc talk is a big thing too, but really going back to the same spot over and over and over again. So I've taken a lot of people out on Barry SA and on the Delta, and I remember we had this one trip, took these guys out and caught just a ton of fish, and a bunch of 5-pounders, just you know, one of those magical days. And I saw these guys 6 months later, same boat ramp, and I've seen them out there a few times before, and I'd go to the boat ramp, and guys come out and it goes, man, the fishing's just not like it used to. I go, what do you mean? Well, those spots you took me to, they're not biting anymore. I go, you guys have been there very much? Oh yeah, we've been there like twice a week for like the last 6 months. And I'm like, what do they're not biting? Those fish are educated.
Big Delta bass,
guys. Fish be when they're put back. But bass have like a repetitive memory. When you hook a bass like with a crankbait or chatterbait, and when you hook that fish, it's going to remember that that was not a good thing. So more than likely, next time you go back with that same bait, it's not going to bite. When you catch enough of them there, you know you're not going to catch anymore. So I'm going to show you the Aqua View in a few minutes, but we'll talk about a couple other things first. Now, second biggest mistake guys make is changing a lure that's working. Now let's say I'm throwing this little, this is a Yamamoto D-Shad green pumpkin drop shot bait. Really an awesome bait, right? And this one's kind of a green pumpkin, maybe a little bit lighter than that. Let's say I'm throwing this bait and I'm catching fish on it. How many times have you been with a guy who's catching fish on bait and he goes, I wonder if they bite a brown one, you know, a blue one, a white one. You know, and so many times I've seen this happen. I fish in tournaments, right? We're fishing tournaments and you guys catch them on one bait, and then all of a sudden you'll go, I wonder if they're going to bite. I wonder if they're going to bite, you know,
and then
something
not bite.
brown. Well, why? Why are you going to change? Why are you going to switch up really what's working? So another mistake that I see a lot of guys make is moving the bait too far. So a bait, especially a bait like this drop shot bait, I'll use this one really when I'm trying to pinpoint a certain little area. But no matter what bait you're using, you know, like especially the down baits, you know, like a shaky head, jig, Ned rig, things like that. You want to make sure that you're staying close to where those fish are. So think about it, the strike zone is going to be a foot. The strike zone is this big, right? So when you're fishing, and I see this all the time, you're fishing, right, and you go to move your bait and you move it up like this. How far did that bait go? Well, that guy likes it. How far did that bait go, right? Like 5, 6, 7 feet. So what I did is I went past all of those fish that might have been. It could have been, you know, 4 or 5 of them. You know, and if I'm doing that, say I'm hopping it over 5 or 6 feet. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I get the hook pin over, so, you know, I'm not using those nice sharp spear point hooks like I handed out. Let's spin over. But if you're moving the bait that far, you're going to miss a lot of fish.
So just throw it out, work it down slow. And another mistake guys make, a couple of mistakes. One is not paying attention. Really, I mean, how many times have you seen that, you know, especially you're fishing and you're out with your buddy, and you look over at his lines kind of swimming by the boat, and you're like, hey, set the hook. And I see this all the time, a lot more than you might think. You should set the hook. What do you mean? Just reel it in and set. Okay. Oh, I got one. You know, it happens so many times that you have to laugh every time. But that happens a lot. So many times guys aren't paying attention. And now if I just had my line slack, I wouldn't know that that fish had my bait in his mouth and he's not swimming around.
He's got it.
Uh-oh. They swallow it on each other.
Yeah.
The hook's bent over, but you know, sometimes they still get it. So like, if I wasn't paying attention, I would have known that fish was on there. He could have swam around there for a little while and then spit it out before I had a chance to set the hook. So another mistake guys make is that we talked about strike zones, 1 foot, right? We had a 1 foot strike zone. If you're not casting accurately, you're not going to catch any fish, right? Let's say there's a bush down at the end of this, or a rock pile, or you know, a nice little steep drop off. If I'm not going within a foot of where that target is, I'm not going to catch that fish. 2 foot, I'm not going to catch that fish. So you think about it, a lot of times you'll make a cast and you'll go, that looks pretty good. But if it's 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot off, it's not pretty good. Got snagged on something.
It's just a little pebble.
What's that?
Just a little small rock.
Okay. So those are, you know, those are not all of the mistakes bass anglers make, but those are a few big ones that, you know, me going out, I guide a lot and I fish a lot of tournaments, a lot of things, and I see a lot of guys make mistakes, and sometimes you don't even think about it. So those are just 5 really easy things to not do, and hopefully help you catch a few more fish. I'm going to talk about some of the tools I use to help me catch a few more fish. One of them is the Aqua View, just an amazing tool. I write a series of stories for Bass Angler where I correlate the Aqua View with my Garmin, my Garmin Live Scope and down, and what it's called is what's down there. So what I do is I'll lower the Aqua View down, I'll go over with my depth finder, I'll lower the Aqua View down, I'll see what's down there and see the difference in what I'm seeing on my depth finder and what's down there. So many times you'll go over and you'll see a big school of fish and I'll lower it down and maybe it's carp down there, maybe it's bluegill, or you know, maybe some catfish. That'll do 2 things for you, right? It'll let you know that what those fish are, they're either bass down there or they're not bass, right? And then what those fish look like on your depth finder. You know, I saw a bluegill one day and I was like, man, those are kind of weird looking fish. Before I really knew what a bluegill looked like on the meter, I lower my camera down, I see this bluegill all over, like hundreds of them. I'm like, oh, that's what bluegill looked like. And they were just like little lines like this, you know. I knew they were fish, but I didn't know what they were. So I'm gonna lower this down in here so you guys can get a little preview of what this looks like. So the nice thing about this is I can just throw this in my glove box under my seat, and I see something, I just throw it out and throw it down in the water, and I can see what's down there. I have a bigger one, you know, a bigger one that shoots a little clearer, you know, a bigger one has a bigger camera, and it's a little clearer. So I'm going to lower this down. You guys can come up and take a look if you like. You'd be amazed at what you'll see.
Let's go see.
Tell me, can you see the fish all right? I can't tell.
See what the Aqua View looks like, guys. Oh yeah.
The nice thing about this little one is I can twist it around. It'll tell me what direction, what compass direction it's pointing. It'll also give me the water temperature. So say you're fishing at 50 foot of water, you lower this thing down, you go, oh, the water's, 5 degrees warmer down there. You go, oh, maybe the fish are down there in that little warmer water. Or the water's a lot colder down there and you go, oh, fish are probably a little shallower.
What happens if the water's murky?
If it, you know, it works if the water's fairly murky, but if it's, you know, if it's like muddy, then it's really hard to see. Most of the time, when you get down near the bottom of just about any lake, you can see at least a few feet. This one, I think, goes 50 or 75 feet. The big one goes 100. You know, once you get down to 50, 60, 70 feet, and a lot of times it's too dark down there to see. It's kind of hard to see.
What price range are they?
Those run, I think, from $200 to about $500. So this one is the
All right,
Pro
guys.
model and the difference.
There's a
between
few
the
tips
Pro
from
model and this
Northern
one.
California Pro showing the Aqua View too. They had a great picture on it.
That makes it real
So,
nice. Has a little,
yeah, that was awesome, guys. We'll save you a clip for
Goes right
that
up, so
and get it
it's
out to
easy
you.
just to